Okay, I think we're just 1 minute short of 3 o'clock and we see people joining in. Okay, I think it's exactly 3 o'clock. So I think I'll just give a minute time. In the meantime, can I just, Tejashwini, can you hear me clearly? Uh, I just need to check if I'm audible much better than the last time. Okay. Now before we start, can just somebody tell me about the volume, please? Okay. I think that's much better because I think I've tried my best to kind of make myself more audible. Okay. Okay. I like to be on time and we see yes people are joining us here. So good afternoon everybody and thank you for joining me on this live session today. I really appreciate being a Sunday. This is the only time we get to spend with the families. But I appreciate that you're here. So I'll ensure that whatever time you spent with me today is going to be worthwhile, and ultimately we'll have something take home message. So for people who do not know me, my name is Dr. Rani Bhatt. I'm a gynecologist and an oncologist at Apollo Hospitals. Now, for people who do not know what is gynae onco, is that I deal with women cancers, that is cancers related to uterus, cervix, ovary. In addition to that, I deal with some complicated gynae cases. Now, before I start off this webinar, obviously it is a Navaratri celebration for us, and Navaratri is a celebration of women power, a festival of women, for women, and by women. Women continue to bear a heavy burden when it comes to balancing work and family, despite the progress in recent decades to bring about gender equality in workplace. So you know what happens with these challenges, what we face both at work and home. Women tend to put their health to a back seat, and they neglect their own health until it is too late. So I have taken up this challenge to educate women about the common gynae problems, because you know our Indian women are kind of like hesitant to talk to somebody, talk to their family members or talk to their friends. So I thought I'll come up with various women related topics, so that at least on this platform we'll be able to share and also discuss women related problems. On regular basis I will be posting some videos on Facebook, Instagram, and on Facebook live chat. If women have any specific topics which you want me to cover, which you are hesitant to go to even to a doctor and talk about it, please mention in the comment box. I will ensure that like I will cover that. You do not have to hesitate, be it menopausal symptoms, be it sexual disorders, be it menstrual irregularities, or be it mental issues which are related to women problems. So if you just put it down in the comment box, I will ensure I'll make a list of it, and every chat we will cover each topic. And today we know, like you know, we are celebrating a breast awareness month. So I have chosen something which is related to the breast cancer. Now this is a very interesting topic. What I've chosen this afternoon is hereditary breast and ovarian cancer syndrome. Now before I get into the thing, let me just share with you the experience I've had in the last 2 weeks. 2 weeks back we had a couple with a young girl coming into my clinic. They were coming from North Karnataka, And this girl was just about 12 years and 6 months, to be very exact, 12 years and 6 months, and she was in 7th standard. They came to my clinic, and the girl had a very vague complaints, like, saying like she's feeling some abdominal discomfort and some vomiting, some kind of a thing. And they took her to the local doctor, and when they did an ultrasound, they found to be a ovarian mass. Obviously, the doctor there in North Karnataka said, see, this case better it be dealt in Bangalore. So you go to Bangalore. The parents were really worried. When they walked into my room, this girl head was completely down. She was just not lifting her head. She was not giving me eye to eye contact. Me and my colleague, we bribed her with chocolate, we bribed her with all kinds of things, but still she just couldn't do an eye contact with us. It took 1 hour of us talking to her, counseling to her, and then ultimately she looked up at me. Unfortunately for this young girl, when we evaluated her, she had a huge 18 centimeter ovarian mass. So it was kind of like, she was like 5 months pregnant when she stood up. And when I asked this young girl, what would you want to become when you grow? She said, I want to be a fashion designer. So unfortunately, when we did surgery for her, the report came as cancer. But luckily, her opposite ovary was non-cancer. As I tell you, luckily God has given us 2 ovaries. So if this is the uterus, God has given us 2 ovaries. So she had cancer in 1 ovary. So we just removed that 1 ovary and left behind the uterus and the ovary on the other side. Now, a week back, not week back exactly, about 5 days back, we had another 30-year-old young lady coming to the emergency with a severe abdominal pain. She just came in the night, she took some painkillers and she just went away home. But the pain persisted, so she came to the hospital, to a general gynae clinic. They thought it was, there could be some bleeding inside, and they were planning to do a laparoscopic surgery. Now, when they did a blood test, for some reason they suspected that it could be an ovarian tumor, and they gave me a call if I would see this lady. When we saw this lady, she had a huge, again, a 20 centimeter ovarian mass. And when we took a history, she said, she's been having this pain on and off, like for about a month, but acute pain one day. So we posted her for a surgery, and when we removed the tumor and sent it for the testing, unfortunately, again, that came as ovarian cancer. So you see, in just 2 weeks, I have 2 women. One is just less than 13 years, another one a 30-year-old, both with an ovarian tumor. So please do not think that, it will not affect us. It can come at any age. So when we're talking about ovarian and breast cancer, there is a condition called a hereditary breast and ovarian cancer. So today we'll talk what is that syndrome, how do we get it, am I at risk of getting it, if I'm at risk, what are the steps I can take to prevent those cancers, what are the lifestyle modifications we can do, and the most important thing, please stay back, because at the end I am going to talk about a self breast examination. This is very, very, very important for all women. Now coming to the first thing, as I said, the hereditary breast and ovarian cancer syndrome. The name itself tells you hereditary, means this cancer can run in the families. Now this cancer, we have a name given to that is the hereditary gene given, that is known as a BRCA1 or a BRCA2. Now if you see, most in our human body, God has given us chromosomes, and these chromosomes, they do come to us in pairs. So if you notice, the mother will have 2 sets of chromosomes, the father will have 2 sets of chromosomes. So if you notice here that these 2 belongs to one parent, these 2 belong to other parent. Now if there is some abnormality where you can have in the family, so you notice one chromosome, if I can come closer, you notice one chromosome has some defect there. Now when they have children, 50% of them, they carry this gene. So what I'm trying to tell you is that either your mother or your father can be having this genetic abnormality, and there is a 50% chance of you getting that gene. So no wonder we say it is a hereditary condition. Now, I told you hereditary is linked to breast and ovarian cancer, but please do not panic, because not all breast and ovarian cancers are linked to the hereditary condition. Now, for example, let's take, there are about 100 women with breast cancer. Of these 100 women, only 3 of them developed breast cancer which is related to the genetic. And out of those 100 women, only 10 of them can develop ovarian cancer because of the gene. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the incidence of hereditarily coming, the genetic abnormality is very small, but there is a role of hereditary in cancer. Now, some people who are just joining, welcome. We are just completing about talking what is a hereditary breast ovarian cancer syndrome. And for those people who are already here, if you have a question, just put it in the comment box so that in the end we can answer those questions. Now, the next important question, am I at risk? So how do we know? We are just lay people, we do not know anything. Now, have I inherited that gene? So how do I know that I'm carrying that gene? So as I told you, the most important thing for you to remember is that this breast and ovary, they're linked to BRCA1 and BRCA2. Now, most of you all would have been familiar, you would have heard about Angelina Jolie. She had this BRCA gene because her mother had breast cancer. So when she got tested, she was found to have this BRCA gene. So how do we know whether I am at risk of developing any of these cancers? Is that you need to know your family history. In your family, if anybody has a breast cancer or an ovarian cancer in your first degree, that is, be it your mother, sister, a first degree relative, if they have a breast cancer or an ovarian cancer, then there is a possibility that we are at risk of having this gene. Also, it is important to know if a lady has breast cancer in both the breast. So that means if cancer is noted in both the breast, then there is a possibility that you may be also at risk. Now, as I said, this gene is hereditary from your father or the mother's side. Now, what is the risk? Okay, fine. There is a history in the family that somebody has a breast cancer or an ovarian cancer. Now, we know, yes, possibility that I must have inherited the gene. So, what is the risk of me developing that gene? Now, first and foremost, how do we know that we have inherited the gene is that there is a simple genetic test. If we do that test, we get to know whether we have inherited the gene or no. Now, as I told you, the BRCA, there are two types. One is known as BRCA1 and other one is known as a BRCA2. Now, if you have inherited BRCA1 gene, then the lifetime risk of you developing a breast cancer can be 40 to 80%. Now, if you have a BRCA1 gene, the lifetime risk of you developing an ovarian cancer can be between 40 to 60%. So, on an average, breast and ovary can range between 40 to 80% if you have inherited the BRCA1 gene. If by chance, if you have inherited BRCA2 gene, then the breast cancer risk is about 40 to 80%. Luckily, the ovarian cancer risk is only 10 to 20%. So, depending upon what gene you have inherited, your risk also can vary. Now, in general, if you look what is the incidence of ovarian cancer, in general, forget about the family history, let's take in general, if 100 people are there in general, about 1% can develop an ovarian cancer. So, that means the incidence of ovarian cancer is basically very less. In that, being a hereditary again can be very, very less. Now, I told you ovarian cancer, I just described about the two patients who came to me with an ovarian cancer. Now, you may be asking me, didn't they know before it was 20 centimeter mass, Obviously, ovarian cancers, absolutely they will not have any symptoms until it really becomes big in size. Most of them, they do tell me is that, like, they're feeling some fullness in the stomach, they feel their tummy is becoming little big, and sometimes they can have some abnormal bleeding, they feel tired, they lose appetite, they're losing weight. So obviously these could be the symptoms of an ovarian cancer. So again, let me just refresh you. Today we are talking about ovarian and breast cancer. So we just said it can be hereditary, and it is BRCA1 and BRCA2 which is linked to this cancer. Now, I just spoke about the ovarian cancer, what could be the symptoms. Now, you may say, okay, doctor, I have this gene. I know I may be at risk of developing an ovarian cancer. Now, is there a test that I can do to know before it can turn into cancer? Now, unfortunately for ovary, we do not have any screening test. So, but having said that, you do not have to feel disheartened, because as I told you, remember the symptoms. If you're feeling uncomfortable, as I say, it is a very simple thing. Know your body. If you feel something is not all right, you are having constant gastric issues, you're feeling bloating, you're not able to eat, you have a small meal and you're feeling very full, you have some vague pain in your tummy and it's just not disappearing even with medications, then yes, it could be something wrong, then you need to go to the doctor. But unfortunately for ovarian cancer, we do not have any screening test. So please note for any abnormal symptoms, and if you have any of the symptoms, then please consult your doctor. Now coming to the breast cancer. Luckily for breast cancer, we have a screening test. So for example, let me tell you, you have inherited the gene and you are at risk of having a breast cancer. So you want to know how you can prevent it. Commonly what we advise women is that to do a self breast examination every month. Then once a year, you go to your doctor and let your doctor do your breast examination. And after the age of 40, in generally, if you do not have a family history, then you have to go get a mammogram done on regular basis. But if you have a family history, like how I told, if you have a family history, the screening changes. So this month being a breast cancer, I just want to tell you that incidence of breast cancer is really increasing in India. And in women, breast cancer is one of the most common cancers seen. It's almost like 1 in 28 women develop breast cancer. So the incidence is really high. And if you notice between urban and rural, it is more in the urban population. It is said that about 1 in 22 women can develop breast cancer in urban, but whereas in rural areas it is 1 in 60. That itself tells that the lifestyle modification and the environmental factors must be playing a role on developing a breast cancer. Now, there is no escaping from this fine print. Breast cancer is a common cancer seen all across in women, including India and also the metropolitan cities. If you see like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Bhopal, Kolkata, Chennai, Ahmedabad, breast cancer incidence is about 25 to 32% of all women cancers. So, it is very common in a younger age group. I remember about a year back, we had this young girl who was about to get married. Just 3 months, she's been busy doing her shopping, and one fine day in the shower, she noticed a lump in the breast. She came to the hospital, and unfortunately, that turned out to be cancer, and her marriage had to be cancelled. So what I'm trying to tell you is that in breast cancer is seen even in younger women. So normal range, we say between 25 to 50 years. As I said, how do you know? As I said, this young girl who is about to get married, who don't even dreamt that she has a breast cancer. But how did she identify? See, the common symptoms of breast cancer, the first thing is like in your shower, when you feel your breast, you may notice some lump. Or you look at yourself in the mirror, then obviously you may notice there is some changes in the shape or the size of the breast. When now let me tell you, normally women do not have same size breast on the right and the left side. One breast can be smaller than the other. So that is perfectly fine. See, if you've been noticing that for many years, then that is absolutely fine. But suddenly if you notice that one breast is shrinking and other breast is like normal, then that tells you yes, there is something wrong. And if you notice, most of the time the nipple has to be outside. So the nipple which is kind of like outside, suddenly it kinds of goes inside, then you know yes, there is something wrong with your breast. Again, if you notice some skin changes, like what we say is, if you've seen the skin of the orange, you know that kind of a puckering kind of a skin changes, if you notice, then you know yes, something is wrong with your breast. Again, if there is a pain, if there is any discharge from the nipple, see, normally young reproductive women can have some milky discharge coming from the nipple, which is common sometimes. But if it is a blood stain discharge, then please go see your doctor. Do not ignore it. Now these are generally the symptoms of the breast cancer. Now as I told you, what is the screening? Now I told you ovarian cancer doesn't have screening. Luckily, breast cancer has a screening. The first screening what I generally tell women is that to do a self breast examination. The second thing is go to a doctor once a year, let them examine your breast. And the third is mammogram. So mammogram is nothing but a scanning of your breast, and that will tell you whether there is any lumps in your breast even before you could find it out. What that means, even before you can feel the lump, sometimes the mammogram can pick up the lumps in your breast. Now another common question is, what test can I do to do my screening? As I told you, there are 3 ways of doing it. Now what should I do? Now the most important is doing a self breast examination. I'll tell you in detail how to do the self breast examination at the end of this. Now we have spoken about what are the symptoms. First and foremost, we said who is at risk, the BRCA gene, and also if you have a family history. The second, we have said like, you know, what could be the symptoms of the breast cancer. The third one, we have said, okay, what are the various screening methods we have for the breast cancer. Now, we are talking about the inherited cancers. Now, yes, I have inherited the gene and I am at risk of developing cancer, breast cancer or an ovarian cancer. What are the ways are there any ways that we can prevent these cancers? Now, there are 3 modalities. The first one, yes, you can give some medications. The second one, if you are at risk of having a breast cancer, then we advise saying to undergo a surgery. The third one is removing the ovary and the fallopian tube. So I'll just tell you in briefly a little bit of it. If you are at risk of developing a breast cancer and you have the gene and a strong family history, you know down the lane you may be at risk of developing breast cancer. So what can we do? So before you can develop any symptoms, any lumps or anything, what we generally advise is that to undergo breast surgery. So undergo breast surgery is, what does that mean? Is that you remove the breast tissue. So they do a cut and remove all the tissue underneath the breast, and they put an implant so that your breast contour is maintained. Now when you do this surgery, all the breast tissue is removed, so 95% you will not get any breast cancer. Now please remember, a surgeon cannot remove every small piece of tissue. So something can be left behind. So no wonder we do say that it is not 100%. Even if you prophylactically remove the breast, it is only 95%. Now what we have seen and what the literature tells us is that even if you are at risk of developing breast cancer, if you remove your tubes and ovary, then your chances of having breast cancer decreases by 95%. So it is very important to understand there are 2 ways of decreasing the chances of you having a breast cancer if by chance you have inherited the gene. One is doing a breast surgery. The second one is removing your ovaries and tube. Now, obviously, removing your ovaries and tube can be done only when your family is complete. Because if you remove it before, you do not have the chance of having children. So, now coming to what age can I get this ovaries and tube removed? See, removing breast, obviously it is advisable to undergo the surgery after you have finished your childbearing, after you finished your breastfeeding, then we say yes, you can undergo the surgery. But for removing the ovary and the tube, what we generally say is, if by chance you have the BRCA1 gene, then get your ovaries and tube removed between the age of 35 and 40. If you have BRCA2 gene, then we advise get your ovaries and tube removed between the age of 40 and 45. So depending upon what kind of a gene you have, we advise at what age to remove the breast. Now there are also some medications which you can take to prevent breast cancers. I'm not going to tell you what are those medications here, because if I tell you, I'm sure you are going to try it out without even consulting a doctor. So if you want to know what are the options, what are the medications which can be taken, I sincerely advise you go have a chat with your doctor and let doctor explain to you what medications to be taken to prevent these cancers. Removing some organ is a very emotional aspect for every lady. But being aware of the options will make it easier for you to know and to take a right decision. Every woman reacts differently to the idea of this kind of a surgeries. But it's a very big decision for a lady either to get her breast removed or the ovaries removed. But I want you to know that there are different options, and if you want to take a decision, there is no rush. Take your time, go sit with your doctor, discuss about all the various options and see what is what is important, what are you comfortable with, and only then you take the decision. See, you may consider having a decision after some couple of years, that is all right. But what I'm trying to tell you is that there are options. Go to your doctor, discuss with them, and then you decide what kind of a surgery you want to undergo, or do you just want to take medications, or do you just want to monitor yourself. Now, coming to the lifestyle risk factors, I've told you gene. Now, keeping the gene apart, as I told you, majority of the time we do not know why we develop cancers. The gene is a very hereditary is a very small component as to why we develop. Majority of the time we do not have an explanation as to why we develop breast cancer. There is a lot of literature, maybe we'll talk about it some other day. But how can we prevent is that, yes, there can be some lifestyle modifications and environmental factors. One of the common thing, what they say is alcohol consumption. Any amount of alcohol is directly related to increase in the breast cancer. So having said that, I'm sure majority may think like, oh, what is Dr. Rani telling? But what the studies have shown that if at all you're drinking, let it be a social drinking and let it be in moderation. But please remember that any amount of alcohol is related to increase in the risk of breast cancer. Now coming to obesity, obesity is rampantly increasing in India, both in rural and in urban setups. So obesity is again directly linked to the breast cancer, because obese people have lot of estrogen, so they can be at risk of developing breast cancer. Smoking, again there is a link between smoking and developing cancers, not only the mouth and the lung cancers, but there is a link between smoking and the breast cancers. Now having babies, we generally say women who do not have children, who have not breastfed, are at increased risk of developing cancers. So we generally say if at all you're planning to have a child and you're married, then preferably have a kid before the age of 30 and breastfeed them for as many years as possible, because that is supposed to be very protective. Now those young women who want to delay having children and want to use some form of a contraception, oral contraceptive pills are supposed to be helpful in preventing ovarian cancer. Also, please, as I said, please just don't go over the counter and buy oral contraceptive pills from today and start taking those pills. talk to your doctor, because oral contraceptive pills have their own side effects. So talk to your doctor and let your doctor tell you whether you are eligible to take those pills or no. Okay, I've touched in brief about like what is the hereditary role in developing an ovary and a breast cancer. As I'll repeat again for those people who have joined late, it is mainly BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene which could be hereditary, but this hereditary incidence can be very, very small. Most of the times we do not know why we develop cancers. And second important thing, we spoke about the symptoms of ovary and the breast cancer. Coming to the screening, unfortunately for ovarian cancer, we do not have any screening. But whereas for breast cancer, we have screening like self-breast examination. Let the doctor examine your breast once a year and by doing a mammogram. Now, how to prevent your risk? We spoke about surgery. Either prophylactically you get your breast surgery done, or you can remove your ovaries and tube once you have completed your family. In addition to the other lifestyle modifications like alcohol, if you can stop, well and good. If not, like in moderation, that is good. If smoking, if there's obesity, ensure that your BMI is within the normal range. And if you are planning to have a kid, it is advisable to have an early, less than 30 years. That is not a hard and fast rule. It is not proven that only less than 30 years you will be saved. After 30, then you are more at risk or anything. Now, coming to the last and the most important part, what I want to tell you is that self-breast examination. Now, most importantly, what I want to tell you is that do not feel shy to touch your body, okay? Because this can save your life. And why we should do self-breast examination is that studies have shown that women have detected breast cancers by themselves when they have touched their breasts in almost 25% and accidentally about 18%. That means if you regularly do your breast examination, you can pick up some lumps. Sometimes accidentally in your shower, you can pick up the lumps. So I'll just touch upon like how to do a self-breast examination and when to do it. See, it is very important for those young girls or young reproductive age group who are still menstruating to do a self-breast examination after the menstruation stops. Do not do before menstruation. Before menstruation, your breasts are very tender, they're heavy, so you cannot do justice when you do a self-breast examination before your menstruation. So after your menstruation, maybe on the 7th day or 10th day, whenever it's comfortable, this is when we advise you to do a breast examination. Stand in front of the mirror first, okay, with your hands to your side and look at the size and the shape of your breast. Also, the situation, situation of the nipple, where is it situated? And you turn to right side and left side and see is there any change. After that, lift both your hands up in front of the mirror and see whether your breast will move with your hand movement or is there some abnormality in the movement. So this will basically tell you is there any lump which is holding on to your breast, or if your nipple is inverted or there is some skin changes. This is what you see in the mirror. The next thing is examine your breast. Now this can be done either when you're lying down or when you're standing in front of the mirror. What we advise is use the right hand to examine your left breast and the left hand to examine your right breast, and use the tip of your fingers to examine the breast. Now just imagine if this is your breast, you can go in any form whichever you want to, but ensure your whole breast is covered. So what we say is either you go in a zigzag fashion, that is you press deeply. It's just not a superficial palpation. What we say superficial touch, you're not going to feel anything there. It has to be a nice deep pressure. So it just keep moving. Either you go in a zigzag fashion, or you want to go in a circular fashion, or you want to go from right to left, but only thing, ensure you cover the whole breast. Now, in addition to covering the breast, the important part is you checking at your armpit, because any cancer in the breast can go to the armpit So you also need to feel your armpit if you can feel any lumps there. The best thing what we say is, when you are in the shower, you do this examination, because when there is soap and water, the hand movement is very smooth and you can comfortably do your breast examination in the shower. So now, since that we have learnt about how to do a self breast examination, please teach your families and friends. There are lovely YouTube videos there how to do a self breast examination. If you want to watch some and learn some, if you're still not comfortable, just go to your doctor, let your doctor examine you, and let your doctor teach you how to do a proper self breast examination. And also, please spread this awareness among your friends and in your community. And if you have any doubts about it, I have my website. You can read about it there. Or you have any doubts, please put it in the comment box. I'll surely answer it, be it in a personal message or directly onto the Facebook. And you can see my website onto it's on my same name. It is drranibhat.com. My Insta and my Facebook is again on the same name, drranibhat. And if you have liked today's talk, I just kept it very simple, because I didn't want to go into depth of the cancers. It is mainly I wanted to emphasize on the self breast examination. If you have any comments, just put it in the comment box. If you have any questions, put it down in the comment box. We'll just answer those questions very soon. And if you really liked it, and just give me a thumbs up. If you don't, if you have any comments, any positive, any negative comments, just put it in the comment box, so that I can it is a learning process for all of us, so that I know what are your needs, so that I can ensure that I can cover those topics in the next coming live chats. So thank you so much for joining me in this session. May the great goddess Ma Durga provide you with strength, wisdom, courage to overcome all obstacles in life, and have an auspicious Navaratri. So now let's come to the most exciting part, is the question and answers. Okay, so there are a couple of questions over here. Okay, so let me just quickly run through it, and if still somebody has anything, you can put in that comment box there. If not, if you're feeling shy to put it in there, you can send me a personal message. I will surely answer them. Okay, there's one question saying, Doctor, my grandma had oral cancer and my mother had ovarian cancer. Now I have breast cancer. BRCA1 and BRCA both are negative. And now my worry is about my daughter. She's 19 years. What precautions to be taken? Okay, so as I said, now that this is a very interesting case. Grandmom having oral cancer, it may not be directly related to the genetic, but yes, mother had an ovarian cancer and she is having a breast cancer, but she is BRCA negative. So now she is worried about her daughter. Now, as I told you, if you look into this, there is only 50% chance that a kid can get this gene. So you may be the luckily unlucky one who do not have the gene but still developed a breast cancer. What I would advise you is that, like, the best is to do a genetic testing for all the cancer survivors if they are there at home. If they're not there at home, then come to the genetic counseling. Let us look at the family tree. And it may not be, since you are negative. Now for your daughter, there is no need for us to straightaway do a genetic testing. But what I'll advise you is that normally we tell that mammogram has to be done after the age of 40. But if you have developed breast cancer before the age of 40, then your daughter should undergo mammogram 1 year earlier than the age what you developed a breast cancer. For example, if you developed a breast cancer at the age of 35, then we recommend that your daughter should start screening from age of 34. And your daughter, it is just not mammogram. It has to be alternate between a mammogram and an MRI. So that is the only difference which is going to be. So meet a genetic counselor. Let's have a session with them, and then we can think about whether your daughter needs any genetic testing or no. If genetic testing is not required, yes, screening is required to be done But as I told you, screening has to be alternate between a mammogram and an MRI. So just not plain mammogram every year. Once it has to be MRI, once it has to be mammogram. So coming to the second one, will getting a transvaginal ultrasound be helpful to check for ovarian cancer, especially one carries a BRCA gene? Okay, that's again a very, very interesting question. Now, what studies have shown us is that doing an ultrasound or doing a CA125 is the tumor marker for ovarian cancer. Both of them have shown that it doesn't have a very good sensitivity, because in young reproductive age group what happens is there can be various reasons why there is a cyst in the ovary. For example, when the egg comes out every month, after the egg coming out there can be some bleeding internally. So when you do a scan, again it shows up like a cyst, or it could be a simple non-cancerous, what we say, endometriosis. So there are many conditions which could be non-cancerous. So by just doing a transvaginal ultrasound and a CA125 will just not help us. But yes, if you are having a BRCA gene, when go for a regular annual checkup and keep a watch on your ovaries, so that you know how your scan was a year prior to that and how your scan is now. Again, I am telling you, please do not panic if at all you find out something in the scan. In the reproductive age group, commonly we do see non-cancerous condition. But yes, having a regular transvaginal ultrasound in the BRCA gene would be advisable. Also, wouldn't having a child when one has the gene also carry the risk of the child being born with the gene? Okay. Now, as I told you, it is not 100% that everybody will inherit this gene. There's a 50% chance that you may be the lucky one, the kid may be the lucky one who may not inherit the gene. So it's only the 50% chance possibility of the kid having the gene. So having said that, you don't have to panic that there is a BRCA gene and whether because of that, if at all, if you're really worried, that I may be giving the gene to my child, we do have facilities like, not obviously if it's a natural conception, we do not know whether the kid will have, but we can do some tests onto the fetus, but that is going to be an invasive procedure. It comes with its own complications. But if at all there is a need that you may have to have an IVF, then during IVF, before they put it back into the womb, they do a testing to see if the embryo what they're putting in has any genetic abnormality. So yes, there is one possibility of us looking that the child who is going to be put into the uterus during IVF, do they have a gene? So you can select there, but it is again a very controversial and a long topic to discuss about. Maybe that will be a very interesting to talk about someday. So the next question is the BRCA2 positive, is there something they need to be careful? What is advised to them? Okay, this is again interesting thing. We've been talking only about women. I'm so sorry. I think I totally forgot to mention that, like, breast cancer in men also is common. And again, the BRCA, again, there is a link between a male breast cancer also. So obviously, like, they do not have any recommendation, like how for women we have a recommendation that you need to have a mammogram, you have an MRI. But yes, if there is a strong genetic and you have inherited the BRCA gene, then the best would be like women, how they do a self breast examination. The men also need to do a self breast examination and go to the physician once a year so that they can examine, and they can do an ultrasound or an MRI of the breast so that they can identify if the lumps are there in the breast. So another question, okay, where can the genetic test be done and what is the right age for it? Okay, there is absolutely no age factor. You can get this testing done anytime. As I said, only thing, when you come to the genetic testing, we have first a counseling session where we sit and we draw the family tree, and only then we decide, yes, genetic testing has to be done or no. If at all a genetic testing has to be done, there is absolutely no age factor for it. It can be done anytime. And where it can be done, yes, genetic testing are done in most of the multi-speciality hospitals. the genetic testing services are being provided. Okay, another question again, where can I get the BRCA gene test done? As I told you, any hospitals, multi-specialty hospitals will have this facility. My grandmother, that is paternal and maternal side, both had breast cancer, and my mother too had a breast cancer. Now, what is the risk I stand? I have a history of a thick endometrium and have IUCD for past 3 years now. Okay, so you are really at risk, because both paternal and maternal side, she says that, like, she has a breast cancer. So that is going to be, and mother. Okay, now that's quite a strong history. So I would strongly recommend you to have, if mom is alive and any of grandmoms are alive, I would advise them also to do the genetic testing. And obviously, if they're not there with you, then I would recommend that you do a genetic testing at the earliest. As I told you, why is that? So that the screening is different if at all you have inherited the gene. Now, coming to the thick endometrium, that is a totally different topic, dear, because thick endometrium, it can be because of obesity, or it could be because you are already at risk of having a breast cancer. That same risk factors can be there on to the uterus also. So IUCD, if I understand, I think it must be something known as a Mirena, which is a protective for the uterus. So keep a watch on to the lining of your endometrium and do a BRCA testing done. And depending upon whether you have this gene or no, then I think your treatment or your screening will change both for your breast cancer and also for your endometrial issues. Okay, I think I have covered almost everything. There are no questions left here. And I'm sorry if I missed out any questions. I'll surely answer personally. So thank you so much for joining, and please do remember to do a self breast examination every month. Do the self breast examination after your menstruation has stopped. Okay, so this can really save you. Please do not neglect. I know Navaratri has started. I know you have a lot of work at home. You may have a lot of shopping despite of the corona to do. But please take 5 minutes of that time, and be it in your shower or anywhere, just do that self breast examination, because you can save yourself. So thank you so much. And if you have any topics which you want me to cover, generally, as I said, it could be a general gynae, or it could be a gynae cancer, or anything, please put it in the comment box. I'll make a list of it, and I'll ensure I'll promise you that I will cover those topics in the future. And please do comment, how did you like this live chat? And if you really liked it, give me a nice big thumbs up and a big smiley. And thank you so much for joining. Have a great evening and blessed day. Thank you. Bye bye.